My name is Randy Rubenstein, and welcome to the Mastermind Parenting Podcast. At Mastermind Parenting, we're on a mission to support strong-willed kids and the families that love them.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back after a pretty long hiatus for the Innovative Therapist Podcast. I'm coming back to you with this episode where I sat down with Randy Rubenstein, my parent coach and mentor, to unpack a really influential experience in my life, which was performing my first ever solo in a art festival local here to Grand Rapids called Art Prize. And yeah, it was a really interesting experience. We're going to unpack it. We recorded this about a week after the experience and went through some of the parts that it brought up in me. And then at the end of the conversation, we also talk a little bit about how this exploration of creativity and coming alive applies to other contexts. So for me, I made some parallels to how I wanted to show up in a talk that I have done now, that I did about a week after the dance performance. And so we are unpacking really the ways that creativity can be a portal to healing, but also to stepping into our inner leadership, to accessing parts of ourselves that are really creative thinkers and creative problem solvers and can make us, continue to pursue a work and life that really, really lights us up, which ends up being more of a gift to the world. That's really, I guess been something I've believed for a long time. And this experience of pursuing something that lights me up, dance was not work. This is not something I did actually get paid a little bit for it. That's another story, but like $10. But mostly I was not paid. I paid a lot more for classes over the past year and a half. So it's not a money-making endeavor, but pursuing this creative outlet that has called to me has really allowed me to better understand myself, to heal parts of myself in ways that talk therapy or even trauma therapy hasn't been able to. There's been this next level of healing that has been brought to me through my pursuit of creativity. And so, yeah, Randy and I talk about all of it. And I hope that you can see yourself in this story and be thinking about, where's my creative spark? Where are the things that feel like play, feel like joy, feel like fun to me? And how can I take a little baby step towards them? So I hope you love this conversation as much as I did. And as always, welcome back and let's dive in. All right. Hello, everyone. We're coming to you with Randy Rubenstein again after a pretty long podcast hiatus. But this idea came to me this week. I reached out to Randy, and our goal for this conversation is really to process my recent experience performing my first dance solo, and we'll see where the conversation goes, as we often do, but my guess is we'll be talking about themes around creativity and healing, all the parts that come up when we pursue what we really want to do, and processing this experience and how it's been incredibly healing for me, and I think has helped with continuing my path about accessing my own inner pack leadership. So we'll see where it goes. And thank you for being here with me as always.
Well, I'm happy to be here. And we both decided it feels like play to talk to each other and to record a conversation. So this concept of play and creativity is a complicated one for me because I don't feel like I play enough. Even just the concept of joy is confusing to me. Mm-hmm. And so it's been so cool to sort of be a fly on the wall of your process. What I'm starting to learn is that I do play a lot, but my play doesn't necessarily look like play to other people, but it feels like play to me. And because I've been doing some parts work recently, right? I I understand now why play is so loaded for me. Like I uncovered in Exile that she did not feel free to play. So no wonder. But I've learned, so she had to learn how to play in ways that didn't necessarily look like play to other people, but felt like play to her. So I'm in process, so I don't even fully understand it, but I've loved being a fly on the wall of your process of dance. And because dance for me, like dancing in front of other people is the most vulnerable thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'm
so
smiling because I'm remembering us on the retreat on the beach, and you're like, I feel uncomfortable.
yeah, I feel so awkward. I feel so uncomfortable. I feel self-conscious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I see people get really lost in a moment, and it's like I can feel the energy when someone is being performative
Mm-hmm.
versus being truly embodied. I feel it.
Yeah.
And it's really just, it feels like an amazing experience, almost like I'm living vicariously when I feel someone. And it's weird to say somebody's performative when they're performing, right? Like
Right.
literally performing on a stage. But you can feel when the person's energy is in that performative part,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And you can feel when the person is truly embodied, whether they're dancing, whether it's comedy, whether it's acting, whatever it is, you can feel that. And so when you share your dance videos with the group, with our little group, um, I I feel the moments in your performance when you are embodied,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like a treat to get to sort of be a fly on the wall of that too.
Yeah. Good. Well, I mean, yeah, and I didn't know if it was possible for me until Sunday to feel as free and embodied as I did. That was my goal, is to get as embodied as I could on stage, but I didn't know what was possible.
Well, do
And
you want to break down like what that feels like?
yeah, um, I think the best way to describe it is like very free, very, very confident. And it's, I guess, similar to the self energy C's. Very playful. Like there was, it's like I knew it was possible, but yeah, like just the self consciousness that I normally experience on stage, the perfectionism that I normally experience on stage, which makes a ton of sense, right? It just wasn't there. Um, because I messed up. People keep saying you didn't mess up. I'm like, no, no, the video doesn't exist. I did mess up on the turn. I don't know how much. I don't know what it looked like, but I did. And I in the second video, you can see my face because I was like a little more tired in that video, a little less embodied in the reenactment video. But the first video, I am pretty sure I did not make a. I know I didn't make a face. I know I didn't. I was just like, oops, I fell out of the turn. Okay. And that was the goal. I mean, you and I did some like pre-processing, and um that was the intention, was just like it's not about hitting everything perfectly. But it was bizarre. I mean, it was weird for me because I've never, and it's not like those parts are totally gone. Like even this week I danced and we performed again in front of one person. Like at the end of class, sometimes like other people will come into class, and it was so low pressure, but I had just learned the routine, and it's one that we're doing later this month. And I felt the performative like perfectionism again and the self-consciousness, partly because my brain hasn't learned that dance yet and I was just thinking about it a lot. But it's not like that part's gone. It's just for those, that 4 minutes or whatever. And leading up to it, I was just like, I'm going to go do a fun thing. Like it was actually really fun. And
Hmm.
dance has never felt that way for me. There was always a part of me that I knew it could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you want that part to be gone that you were just talking about?
The protector one.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to relax more often.
Mm-hmm.
So that even when I'm just playing around in the studio, even with, I actually just yesterday, I'll be spending more time in the studio just playing around with friends in an unstructured way because we have this like 24/7 access membership now where we can like just get in on a Friday. If I don't have clients, I can go play around and my friends can come and we can like play around with choreography. And even in those settings, I actually find myself like getting performative. So in those settings, I would like it to relax for
Mm.
sure. Um, yeah, but I understand that there's still going to be times when it comes up, maybe just due to, because there is still like, to use IFS language in exile that's getting protected in those moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, I do know that there's also a protector part of me that's very young that has a lot of fierce, confident energy too. And she's had to hide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So some of the perfectionism and self consciousness is maybe been learned to hide the parts of myself that are pretty confident and ready to be like, yeah, look at me.
I know. I'm like now really curious about the part that like when you went during free dance was wasn't feeling totally embodied. So that part that was keeping you from feeling totally embodied, I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually super curious about that part, but I don't know if you are. Yeah.
Which one? The which time?
The like when you said there was like the open dance time, like
Oh,
how you could just go in.
yeah. Yeah, that's more like coming up. I'm anticipating it, but
Oh,
I've done that before where even with making up this dance, I would be like showing them what I have so far, but then be like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Like I just get all awkward versus like, okay, you don't know it. Or like I'd be like, maybe something like this, maybe that's dumb, and they'd be like, no, do that.
mm-hmm.
It helps to have friends that, you know, are very supportive, right? I think that's a big piece of all of this. With, of course, we know that, but with a
But when
creative,
did you say, I thought it was an open dance time, when y'all were just there kind of playing and messing around and there was one person watching
that
that,
was this Thursday. It was not open dance. We just
oh,
were learning this dance we're doing in a month. And we had just learned a new parts, and she just popped in to see what we have so far. I didn't make this one up. And it was this, I don't know her well, but she's very nice. Like there was no reason to be self-conscious. So
yeah.
your question is like, yeah, why can't I let go in front of like one person or in that scenario? Or
Well,
what parts?
it's not really why can't you? It's
Yeah.
the curiosity about the part that says, there's, danger, danger. There's a
Mm-hmm.
new person. She's
Mm-hmm.
not in the tribe that normally goes together here. You weren't expecting her.
Yeah.
Like that part,
Yeah.
I'm curious about it, but I don't know if you are.
I think that that part is a part that I have named and gotten to know for a while that I used to call my positive impression management part, which is kind of a
Mm,
dorky like psychology term because there's like tests that we do that if you're trying to like show a good face on a test, it'll like spike on that scale. So I named it that, but yeah, that's just like people are looking and I always have had I remember the first couple recitals I did as an adult, and this was always the case as a kid too. But as an adult, I was like, "Come on, it's you're here to have fun," and I was almost like trying to push that part to relax. And I think I've mentioned to you that like one of my tap recitals we went on a little earlier than I thought we were going to, and I almost didn't have time to get worked up, and so it helped a little bit. But it was almost like a forcing of that part to relax versus really working with it. And so, yeah, it's the same part that was like, what, leading up to the solo, like, what on earth? have
What
you
were you
gotten yourself
thinking?
into? People
Yeah. What
people
were
are
you
going to be
thinking?
like, who is this person? Like,
Mhm.
who does she think she is? It was the only solo in the show. Like she's not like I've said, it's not like technically I'm the best person, and that's not what it's about. But this part was like, what have you gotten yourself into?
Right.
this
I
was
know
insane.
the whole week leading up. I know there was there was a lot coming up, including, I mean, do you want to talk about your neck pain at all? I mean, how is
Yeah.
your neck pain now?
Oh, it's gone. I mean, it's gone, but it's not totally. I've noticed it mildly. When there's like stressors coming up in this week with like it's almost at this part that's just like, hey, slow down. Or it happened this week when someone was going through something really painful that I just sitting I just it was like, this is painful. Like just having empathy for someone kind of brought it up a little bit. So it's not just specific to performance, but it definitely got very active throughout the week leading up to the performance. And I have to say, I never, and this is kind of, I know like for you and me, I think the reason I pulled back from the analyzing each little part is because I'm just trusting the process and like realizing, I don't know, I'm not going to exactly know which part neck pain came from. I think it came from this part that was like, this feels really scary and stressful and I need you to slow down. But the result of the neck pain I was able to appreciate, which is it got me out of my head a little bit and into my body.
Mhm.
And I just was like, I didn't have capacity for a lot of things last week. Like I just was like, I can't do anything else. I just need to focus on like kind of going inward, and in a way that might have helped, I don't know, helped me to trust myself. I feel like I was looking for less external validation than normal. I was just like more grounded, even though the neck pain was still there.
Mhm. Mhm.
It was kind of interesting.
It
Like I
is
let
interesting.
go of trying
Yeah.
to get rid of it, and that helped it to get less, but it would still spike and go down. But I just allowed it to kind of do its waves, and you know,
What do
I
you think, what do you think helped you to kind of pivot from trying to get rid of it and praying that it went away,
mm-hmm.
you know, because you had this big solo performance that, why the hell did I sign up for this? What were you thinking? This is a terrible idea. All the things that happen, right?
Yeah.
Quite often for most of us, right before we said yes to a thing a month ago, 6 months ago, whenever, and now all of a sudden it's the week of, and we're like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
This is a terrible idea, right? And that's
Yeah.
really just a part of us that is trying to talk us out of taking this risk. And that involves so much uncertainty. We don't know how it's going to go, or we're going to look stupid. So there's all these parts that get activated, right? When there's some risk involved. And then your body was literally like, yeah, I know you workaholic, you person who wears many hats and does all the things. I'm going to force you to slow down, or,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, feel free to edit this because this is your story. And it was just getting to be a fly on the wall of you processing during that week.
No, it definitely forced me to slow down. Like I would have worked more on Friday than I did. I didn't work at all Friday. I got a massage and then I went to a somatic session. Uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
that was a
yeah.
big part of it. And I think I do think there was a shift early in the week. I think it was Tuesday or something, because there was a part of me that was putting a lot of pressure on this performance. It was like, this is a one and done. You're so scared. You're never doing this again. So you better feel good. You better feel perfectly good on stage. You better have no pain. And it was almost like a perfectionist part that was trying to perfect my own experience and
Mhm.
make sure my body felt as good as possible. And I had to be like, we don't know if we're going to do this again. We might not. I have no idea if I'm going to do this again. But it was more of a growth mindset that I adopted, and that helped me shift and be like, And also, if you need to take ibuprofen, it's fine. Like, I knew that, but I just was like, I don't know. I just didn't want to fight with the pain all week. But I think I used the term like acceptance and commitment therapy term, like drop the rope with just like, okay, so I have this pain. It's fine. And I don't have to have a perfect experience. Like, that felt helpful.
Well, and I remember at one point when you were processing, there was something where you noticed the pain lessen a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that felt to me like kind of a pivotal moment. It was like maybe 2 days before the performance, and it seemed like it was, oh, the pain, but of course, tell me if you disagree or what it actually was. It seemed like it was, oh, this pain, this neck pain needed to be here
Mm-hmm.
to sort of force me
Mm-hmm.
to look at all the different parts that are coming up
Mm-hmm.
for this perform and slow down and be in this body, versus distracting myself, being busy. I got two kids, I got a full job, I got a full load, I've got all the things. Like, how easy would it have been to just go about your week and then all of a sudden get to the performance and expect yourself to get out of your head that you've been in all week and into your body? And so it seemed like there was a pivot like 2 days
Mm-hmm.
before where the neck pain, and we started talking directly. We were like, just like, hey, neck pain, right? And I was referring to neck pain, you were referring to neck pain,
Yeah.
and we couldn't figure out what part necessarily neck pain went with, but we just kind of talked directly to neck pain and started to even maybe like understand. I don't know if you went as far as appreciation, but it seemed like there was a real understanding of,
Yeah.
oh, this, you're happening for me, not to me, even though this is really uncomfortable. But I don't know,
Yeah.
what are your, yeah.
Yeah, I think I got to it really, I think it was this lessening of, and I think this happens a lot of times when we have parts that, especially when they're sending painful experiences, right? Like physical pain, like, but even parts that send anxiety, like it makes sense that other parts of us are like have an agenda to get rid of that. It does, but it's also this not being as reactive to it and just being like, you're here for a reason. And I'm going to stop trying to get rid of you, you know? And in some ways I was still doing things that I did hope would get rid of it, right? Getting a massage, doing a somatic experience session. But I also was not tied to, I kind of actually figured it wasn't going to go away. I actually didn't expect it to go away anymore. And that expectation helped to lessen the pressure. And then it was allowed to just like come and go. And yeah. And then interestingly, then Saturday came and then I got more of the nerves again because it was like almost with the neck pain, I was like so distracted from like the nerve and the nervous parts. So that was, I think, another thing. Get out of your head into your body in a way that doesn't feel great, but is still, I don't know. Like when you're in pain, it's hard to focus too on analyzing things.
Right. Which, like, yeah, well, you've heard me say it a million times. We think we're thinking animals, but even more so, we're feeling
Yeah.
animals,
Yeah.
right? And so this whole idea of embodiment, I think it can be a really sort of lofty concept and hard to wrap your arms around when you are a person who has a lot of fierce protector parts that learned to numb your body,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
me too, right? So like this
Right.
whole idea of embodiment, I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know how to analyze and think and and even bullshit myself, convince. I mean, I'm an amazing salesperson in terms of this is the reason. But
Yeah.
then your body feels something different, right?
Yeah.
And so this embodiment practice, and especially where it's like something like dance, it seems like it's like, why does a grown woman, why is she doing a dance recital? Like, what is this all about? Like, I could see so many people, in Brene Brown's words, in the cheap seats,
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do.
judging. How trivial, how ridiculous. What is this?
Yeah.
But really, it's like this whole process is is a way to a way to truly become embodied and understand what that feels like, or from my viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then the leading up to it, noticing all these parts that come up, right? Where the stakes are really not that high. It's not like it's like this is, you're preparing for a big launch and you're doing this webinar, you're going on a stage and you're speaking, and somebody's paying you a bunch of money and you're going to pay your mortgage. It's not, it's like you're
Yeah.
just signed up to do a dance, to be in a dance recital. It's you're not getting
Right.
paid for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, to think about the parts of us that like to analyze, right? You and I both have strong analyzer parts. You maybe even more than me well, I don't know, I do too, but it might just look a little different. And even like after the dance, because we have a relationship where I do feel comfortable being like, I can't analyze anymore. Like where it kind of got to the point where like I just knew the analyzing, and even to this point, like today I can't be like, well, let me tell you, neck pain, she's 4, and I can give you a sense. I have some 4-year-old protector parts that are fierce, and I have a sense of some of these parts, but I still don't know exactly where neck pain came from. I just know that the intention of that part is trying to slow me down. And you, after, because I was all obsessed with the fact that I didn't have the video, and you were like wanting to continue to like dig and analyze and figure out what parts connected to what, I had to be like, I can't analyze it anymore. And I've gone through these balance, and I think the more I've danced, I trust myself to like go there when I need to go there, when it feels helpful, and pull back when I'm like, I'm not sure. And that's okay too. Like even with I did listen to this week. I feel like each time I do a dance performance, I listen to like one podcast about dance movement therapy or how movement and dance can heal trauma. But I almost don't want to know too much because it gets me too in my head. And I'm like, the whole thing about this is just trusting the process and, not over analyzing any of it.
Well, it was interesting. It was like the after the dance, I was like, update on the dance. And I really just wanted to know how you felt,
Right.
right? And
Right.
how you felt, and how it went, and yeah, just from your viewpoint. And the video, this your instructor who or what is she? What do y'all call her?
Dance teacher. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dance teacher.
Same thing.
Um, this was like this rare case of the file got corrupt and it didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and so your normal process of rewatching the performance and then sharing the performance with, people that you want to see it, that, there was a lot of disappointment
Mm-hmm.
in that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And me pushing you was really, me being like, why is it not enough just to know that this thing happened
Mm-hmm.
and it was amazing? Your experience was amazing and you learned a lot. And like, could it just be enough for you to just tell us about your experience?
Yeah.
And we kind of, and then the going back and forth with you being like, look, it's not the external validation. I just want to share this joy with, or that's what I heard. I want to share this joy with other people. I want to watch it again. I want to experience again. I want to be reminded of how I felt out there. I'm, like, I need to experience this disappointment without analyzing the fuck out of it.
Yeah. It was both. It was both, right? Like you were onto something and it was true. And like there was a part of me that was looking for the external validation. Like, did that actually happen? Can I believe my experience? But it was also also other things about the video that was really disappointing, that even though like just wanting to be able to share that, which mostly got appeased for me once I got the reenactment video, because it still gives a general picture, and I wanted to share it with Courtney, who sang the song that I danced to, like stuff that people that aren't in the room. I mean, I could have, with her specifically, we're going to talk on the phone and we're going to process. We just haven't yet. But she couldn't see how I moved to her specific lyrics, like without the video. So there was that too. But
Well, it
you
was
were
also helpful to me. I loved getting to watch the video, and it helped me to like even like I don't know, just even to like feel like I got to really I just understood it more because I'm not a dancer and that's not, and so we can talk about this and sort of pick it apart, but like getting to see the video also let me really understand what it is you did out there. So
right.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
completely true.
It's like it was both, right? And I think, and it was the uncertainty of like, I'm trying to process this experience and I don't know if there's a video or not. Cause there was like 12 hours where it was just like, we don't know. And so that was hard. But once I knew it's gone, I was sad for a minute, but it was like, it's fine. Like,
Mhm.
it was pretty easy to process through it once I knew, like, oh, that's a bummer. And like, yeah, there's value to having to process it without a video, because normally I always have a video with almost any meaningful dance that I do. So
Mhm.
uh so there's value in this particular one. It just doesn't exist because
Mhm.
the rare instance where we had someone videoing and we told everyone not to. So there's no video that exists, and so it's kind of interesting to
That is so interesting because it's like if the video had just existed, then you wouldn't have gone through all of those feelings, the disappointment, the sadness, the looking at, why do I really need this video? What do I need, and
Mhm.
coming to terms with, okay, maybe there is some external validation. Okay, good to know. But
Yeah.
more importantly, I want the video for me to,
Yeah.
like that's what I was hearing from you is like where you've gotten to was I wanted it to exist for me and I wanted to share it with people so they could get to
Mhm.
we could be in sort of in that experience again together and we could talk about it and we could process and I could let it was almost like a
Yeah.
bridge. It seems like an olive branch to like let people that you want to let in, understand you and see that, just what you experienced. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. It's both. And I mean, I think that even if I think about, I did tap, I started tap for a couple years, and then I went back to this jazz contemporary, which is really what I always loved growing up. And the very first class I went to, I think it was like a year and a half ago, they were like, okay, well, now we're going to perform it. And we always take videos. So I have a video of my very first dance class. Like, I have a video of this whole thing, but I don't go back and show people the video of my first class, right? Um, it's just interesting for me to be like,
Do you
oh,
rewatch have you found yourself going back and rewatching it?
yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, just for fun. Like to just be like, ah, like, whoa, I was panicking before I walked into that class. And then I had a lot of fun. It was really hard. And I have a video to commemorate and to remember, because it is easy to forget exactly even how you felt sometimes.
Mhm.
Like, or you can
Mhm.
generally remember how you felt, but I don't know, just remembering the song that we danced to. And because without the video, like even the song, it was just like a really emotional song. And I didn't even know what it was about because I was so focused on the movements. But then I watched, I was like, whoa, that was a deep song. It was about like suicide and like, yeah, my very first class. So yeah, I don't share that, unless there was a reason to, or my dance friends and I might be like, oh my gosh, remember this one? This was our first class together. Like, so it's so much of this journey is mega documented, right? Like it's just the norm. And so, yeah. So it
It's
was
so
like,
interesting. It's like
yeah.
even just the rewatching of yourself, like you said, there's a very young part that does have this fierce confidence. And that is
Mm-hmm.
that how you described her?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking if you think about a 4-year-old, I remember with my kids like that point, it was such a sad point when I could tell they weren't in little kid la la land anymore. They
Yeah.
all of a sudden became aware of themselves and what other people might think. Like I
Yep.
remember that moment. I remember Corey playing Little League early years, and me and my dad and Scott all, he wasn't that young. I want to say by this point he was maybe in like second grade, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember us sitting in the stands, and Scott and my dad, one of them, right, said he goes from the dugout. His team was going back to the outfield. So he goes from the dugout and he's running out there. He just loved being a part of a team. It wasn't even ever really about the sports for Corey. He loved being part of a team. And I
Yeah.
would see, my joy agenda was always fulfilled just kind of seeing when little kid la la land, when you have those moments and you get to witness it. It's just because I didn't really have that much as a little kid. So I'm like, oh, and Scott and my dad, one of them said, how old is he going to be when he stops actually skipping out onto the field? Like at some point, and I was like, and I like looked at them and I was like, if either of you ever say that to Corey, I will murder you in your sleep. And and they were like, we're not going to say it to him. I was like, I can only imagine because they're both, they both have that kind of, you know, male, especially my dad, macho, whatever. And I was like, I will murder you. I will
Yeah.
murder you. And they were
Yeah.
like, we're not. I'm like, that is joy. That is tangible joy. He's skipping out onto the field. And he wasn't like like he was like running and then there would be a little skip, running and then a little
Yeah.
skip. And I was just like,
Yeah.
he's like, and
Yeah.
I just remember like with each of them when they went from playing and me getting to be a fly on the wall and just delight in watching them play,
Mm-hmm.
which what I've uncovered recently is that's what a young part of me, that's all she truly wanted. She never got that. She never felt that. She never felt like anyone would just sit and be a fly on the wall of her and delight in her joy, right? And
Yeah.
her unself-conscious, in a moment, magical thinking. And
Yep.
so, like, to be able to watch yourself back and
Mm-hmm.
delight in it is sort of almost like you being that parent to your parts and delighting in your experience. It's kind of I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Would do
Yeah.
you, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it. As you were saying it, I kind of got chills because I do know what happened Sunday. I was in my joy. Like I know that. And I did have a lot of people that were there. It's not so much about what they experienced, but there is something like that's just the cherry on top though, like of just like of course you want people to delight with you, right? And yeah, maybe it is like I'm trying to think if and I think that's part of why I wanted the video, right? Because I wanted to see what the joy looked like. And I would say the reenactment video, you see some of it. Like I
Mhm.
see pieces of it where I just know that I was a little more tired and a little less joyful than I was the actual day it happened. But you still get the vibe of it, so I'm like satisfied with that and I think I can remember back. And I think I don't know. Most people that
Can I ask
yeah.
you a question?
Yeah.
So let's just say there's a master planner out there, right?
Mhm.
We don't know. Some people might call it God, the universe, whatever. And there's this some plan that's meant for Shawn.
Yeah.
And the video, the night of the performance was always supposed to be corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And there was supposed to be no actual documentation of that experience other than in your mind and in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever was there, whoever was lucky enough to be there with their eyes there with you, right? They felt
Mm-hmm.
what they felt, what they felt, you felt what you felt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were also meant to do the reenactment video the next night, where you were a little tired, and so you went through, and here's the dance. And there were moments where you were in body, but also it wasn't the exact same experience. You didn't have the, scared and excited feeling performance day and all of that.
Yeah.
So let's just say it happened exactly as it was meant to happen. Why do you think, like, what do you think Master Planner out there is saying it had to happen exactly in this way? Because the lesson and the learning and the message was what? Fill in the blank.
Well, I'm laughing because you did ask me this, and I'm like, what did I say? But I mean, because at that time I was like, I don't know, I'm still kind of mad. But no, I think it's like I believe myself, right? Like I believe I know what happened, and that's enough. And also,
I mean, would
like,
you feel comfortable closing your eyes and just seeing if the message comes through? Like, like you're speaking as the master planner and you're speaking directly to Shawn. Oh, this had to happen exactly as it happened
yeah,
because what? What did you want Shawn to learn? She needed to learn what? Or she needed to receive the message of what?
to be honest, I think there's still this little part of me that's like, nope, this wasn't supposed to be the plan.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
wrong. It's wrong to have this missing piece of documentation. I've accepted it, but it's not the plan. That's a little resistant to that part. It's like a little resistant to it. But if I can try to embody it, it's like, I don't know. This is how it's, I can't quite access. I was going to say, like, this is how it's supposed to be. Um, you can believe yourself. There's not always going to be documentation. I guess that's actually an important one. That feels really important. There's
No,
not always going to be
you said something right before and then you cut yourself off. So I just want to circle back.
Yeah, but well,
You can believe.
you can believe yourself. Yeah.
You can believe yourself.
Yeah. That like that book Believing Me, I did end up reading it, but the title, it's like Mother Hunger. It's like the
Hmm.
title represents the whole book. Believing Me is a memoir by a psychologist, and that's come up to me a lot, right? I believe myself. I know what happened. It doesn't matter how it looks. Like I know what I felt, and I do know that.
Yeah.
And that matters, right? And I think that that's the biggest thing when we've experienced gaslighting, or when we're healing from gaslighting, which is actually a really challenging thing to heal from sometimes because it's can be confusing and subtle. Like I know what happened.
Yeah. But if you were told over and over again, stop, you're making that up. That's ridiculous. That's nonsense. No,
Yeah.
you're wrong. I mean, all those little comments will cause you to feel like what I'm not like nobody's going to believe me. They're just going to probably make me feel worse or challenge what the thing that I reported. They're going to be like, that didn't happen. That's not true.
Yep.
Um, they're not going to show up with curiosity. They're not going to just believe me, just give me the benefit of the doubt, no matter what, that my experience was exactly what it was. And so, yeah, like that message of you were meant to make the reenactment video t- to be a visual to take you back and remind you of, like, to go back into your body and remember, oh, what did I feel in the dance? And I can't pick apart the actual performance, the performance dance, because I don't have that. And all I can rely on is my own memory and whatever's coming right now in my body. And it's the truth. It's my truth. I believe me. I don't know
Yeah.
if that
Yeah.
resonates.
No, that's well said. That couldn't come through me because I still have a part of me that's like, but I want the video. But I do think, and I think this was partly what you were getting to when we were first processing why is this video so important, is there is a part of me that did experience a lot of gaslighting and still does, and that documentation part, yes, the other things we said are still true, right? I wanted it for other reasons. I wanted it for myself. I wanted it to share. But a big part of it has been I'm trying to document because I haven't always been believed, right? And many of us struggle with believing our kids when they come home and they're like, my friend said this to me. My friend was mean to me. We struggle with just like being present with their experience. And so gaslighting can happen on a variety of scales and on a continuum where it's like really consistent or where it's more sporadic, but it's really painful. And I think that is for sure that part of me that was like, oh no, I need this. I need this to believe this happened, right? And it's like both and. Like there was multiple parts up that wanted that video. But I do believe, I mean, I do very much, and that's why I'm grateful for this conversation too, to continue to like process and document in other ways, because that is important to me and that helps me and that's okay. But yeah, there's
This
no
one
visual
time,
evidence of it. This one time, probably the only time
this,
it'll ever happen.
this one time, maybe it happened for you, not to you, because you had to like it's not about getting rid of the documentation. You sound very clear that you like to have it, you like to revisit it and go back to it, and it's a visual cue to take you back into that moment. But there was this one time, your very first solo, where the file got corrupted. And so all you could rely on was the memory in your body of what it felt like during the performance. And, and this process of sort of just like, it's enough to just believe that this happened and this is what I felt.
Yeah.
And that's no documentation needed. Like, that's my truth.
Totally. Yeah. And now it's like, it is actually like a really intoxicating feeling too, going back to what you said. And it's like, so how can I get more of that and not, or at least, yeah, like feeling that grounded and in your joy is like, it's intoxicating and it's it's addictive, but not in like the traditional addictive way where you're seeking that dopamine hit and then it's not fulfilling. Like that was very fulfilling and I can remember it. I can even like think about it right now and I get like an excited feeling in my stomach. So
I mean, it's I think what it is it takes us back to when we were small human beings and we had no other way to be in the world other than embodied. We were present. It's like little kids when that, unself consciousness, when you see them playing with toys or things and even before they have inner speech. I remember when they're like, da, 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 and they're talking out loud because they can't even, I remember it when it shifted. My daughter did this the most out of all three of my kids, but I remember it shifted. She'd play with little stuffed animals or figurines. And then I remember seeing her and she'd just be holding it up. And the two stuffed animals or figurines would be having a full conversation, but I didn't know what the conversation is because now she has inner speech in her head, right? I think for her, it was around 6. And for my boys, it was maybe a little older. It's typically around 7. And so I think Avery was like 6.5 or so. And I remember I always used to hear her little Minnie Mouse chatter voice. Um, and because she was very high pitched and no one could understand her. And at 5 years old, we had to put her in speech therapy because the only people that could understand her were me and her older brother, Alec. Everyone else was like, what the hell did she just say? And so I remember it was just like I loved it. I'd see her lost in play and I'd hear it, and then all of a sudden I stopped hearing it, but she was still doing it. She
Yeah.
was embodied in that moment, and she didn't even know what the hell was going on around her. And
Yeah.
so as an adult, when you have these experiences and you get to sort of reconnect with that younger part that many of us lost a long time ago, like
Yeah.
that's pretty freaking magical.
Totally. And it's like because as an adult we have to, like, how do I want to say this? Like, we have to function in these various capacities, right? We have to access, like, even the dance, I would say, even though it's a lot of muscle memory, I'm still functioning. I'm not totally improving out there, right? Like, I have a completely predetermined routine pretty much. But I guess what I'm thinking, and this is just my example, because in 2 days I'm giving a talk where I'm speaking to therapists about like sustained and aligned income streams. And it's a talk I'm really excited about. It feels very like zone of geniusy, right? And I'm
Mhm.
hoping I can embody a similar feeling. It's probably not going to be quite as exciting, but maybe it will. I don't know. Where I am sharing my own story of getting really burnt out, just like I was sharing my story in the dance. But I have points to get through. So it's this like we're connecting with these parts and we're integrating them into us as an adult. And that feels really playful and good. And to me, that's zone of genius. To me, that's creativity. To me, that is what connecting with these playful parts that are just in the present moment, totally not aware of time, but we can find ways to integrate them into our adult life that are really life giving. But it's a tricky balance, right? Because I'm going into this talk with slides and with talking points and with an agenda, and I'm going to be aware of what time it is so I don't overstep my hour. Um, but I think there are ways that, and I think that's why reconnecting with these younger parts, like I think that's why creative hobbies, that's my guess, why creative hobbies make people more innovative thinkers is because these little humans have a lot of wisdom to bring to the table that we shut out because we have all of our agendas and our, you know, adult rules and controls.
Well, think about it. It's like, act like an adult.
Yeah.
What would a parent say to a kid who, stop being so immature?
Yeah.
And right. And so like if that's part of the culture, then becoming present in a moment and truly embodied and losing track of time. I mean, think about get your head out of the clouds. What did I just say? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and so if that hasn't been celebrated to sort of, get lost in yourself. I mean, granted, sometimes it's boring, the teacher was boring and the kid learned to dissociate, so
Yeah.
it's not like they're totally embodied, but um you know, sometimes it's like kids are so in their present moment and people them are like, what a space cadet. He's just not maturing like the other boys are. Like I've heard that from, some of my moms that they'll
Yeah.
hear that from professionals. And it's like, or maybe he's a kid that is still in that season of life where he gets to be literally in this present moment and we're putting all these negative connotations
Right.
and so yeah, as an adult, like we do have to do a lot of adulty things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And prepare for the talk
Mm-hmm.
and make the slides and use your executive functioning skills to like put a system in place where you're going to be checking the time and you're going to have whatever, clock or thing that's going to be that visual where you'll check with the time and you're going to be managing a lot during that talk.
Yep.
But if the intention is like, I think that's what can help so much when you're giving a presentation or just something that anchors you. If you know the intention is to have fun while walking people through an experience. A lot of times that's my intention. So I'm just sharing it.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like I want to walk people through a meaningful or impactful experience. And I want to have fun doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And it's like knowing for me the similar parts, positive impression management will probably come up. Like if I happen to notice someone making a face or they make a comment that makes me worried about what they're thinking of me, that can pull up that part. But if I do know that part's probably around 4, pretty young, like really had learned pretty young to monitor because my confident self was not responded great to. People weren't a huge fan of her.
Yeah.
So I had to have some self consciousness of reading the room. And so I do. And that was what I had planned to do before the dance is I had this piece of paper that was reminding me like check in with this part and check in with this part. But yeah, like have that intention, but then also know these parts are probably gonna come up or they might. So you have a plan for how to maybe get them to relax at least somewhat.
Or what if you, instead of relaxing her, what if you put her to work?
Mm-hmm.
How
Mm-hmm.
could she work? How could this sort of hypervigilant reading the room, impression management part,
Yeah.
what if she wants to be given a job?
Yeah.
And because you are walking people through an experience, right?
Yeah.
And managing so many other things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that might be an opportunity to sort of give her a job, let her know you appreciate her,
Mm-hmm.
and put her to work in a way that's going to support you and having fun and creating the experience that you want.
Yeah, totally. It might be like different for different experiences, but for the dance, like I wanted her to kind of relax and just you don't have to worry about this. We're just here to have fun. But for that experience to talk, like it is
Right.
actually good to have a read on the room. It's a group of probably like 30 to 40, right? It's managing that having a part that's aware of what's the temperature of the room is hugely helpful for having that
Yeah.
playful experience and like acknowledging. And so yeah, like letting her know, thanks for making me aware of that, and I'm going like keep being on board. I'm going to keep telling
Yeah.
my story, but like or I'm going to keep going with the talk as planned, but yeah.
But also, like, you'll be able to pivot during the talk because you give it to, I mean, how many times have we gone to talks and the person's just showing the freaking slides and, you're young. Like, I notice when I'm doing something, if somebody's yawning or if somebody has their arms crossed or somebody has a scowl on their face, like I have a similar part, a protector part, right? That's a super hyper vigilant part. And my way of putting that part to work is if I see people yawning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then I know I need to give them a task. I need to put a question out there and get some participation because like they need to get the
Yeah.
blood flowing, right? They've been in
Sure.
listening mode for too long. But if I have somebody that's like shut down, arms crossed, I can tell they've got a real skeptical part.
Sure.
And whatever it is I'm dishing out, they're like, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel safe to buy it. So what that always lets me know is that's a person that I need to connect with that person because they're not feeling safe to take in new information.
Yeah.
And so I immediately know that that person is shutting down, they feel unsafe. But if I care about that person, and if I help that person in the audience feel seen, whether it's looking at them, whether it's if it's a small workshop, I can say, okay, I can tell something's not sitting well with you. You're calling bullshit. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Like really, like I want to hear it
Yeah.
and like seeing that person but not like putting them in this on the spot but being like really like please poke holes. This is the part I love my skeptics.
Yeah.
um right,
Totally.
and so if I give a little love to that person and then that person, but I am curious, right? So it is
Mhm.
authentic, it's not
Yeah.
manipulative, and then that person all of a sudden feels seen and is allowed to say, yeah, I wasn't really buying this thing, or I disagree in this way. Okay, let me hear it. That's a
Yeah,
good point. That's a great question. Let's unpack that a little bit.
totally.
Like that person now all of a sudden is invited into the experience. It always makes the presentation better. So that impression management, hypervigilant part is, super helpful.
Yeah,
It's really super helpful when they show up.
totally. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Yeah, so good. Okay. Obviously, we could talk all day, because we love each other.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you invited me to talk about this experience, um, because I'm hoping that everybody that's listening will realize, like, you know, we can study how do you achieve blah blah blah, or how do you heal from, but really, like sharing and experience a real life creative act and all that's come up for you around this creative act. Like it's kind of like when I say, like, who told you when you became a parent that it was really going to be a forever journey of growing yourself, right? It's like the ultimate personal development program, because your kids are going to hold a mirror up and you're going to face yourself over and over and over again. Nobody tells anybody that.
Right.
But I think that's what's going on here too. Like there's so many powerful lessons.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the process is amazing and healing and hard, right? Like like kind of similar to parenting. It can be amazing and healing and very hard. And yeah, a lot of this process was good, but there was a lot of moments throughout where I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to do this. So or I don't know if I can. And so, yeah, no, I appreciate
Or entrepreneurship, or anything
those are the
that
main ones.
we're learning. We're experimenting a lot. We're risking failure and rejection.
Yeah.
We're not sure. We have goals and results we want to get. We don't know exactly how to get there. I mean, I think this is just the human experience,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And yeah, my hope is that it's like, obviously it's not necessarily going to be dancing a solo, but there's things calling to you that you are not doing. And if the environment supports you doing those things, which my environment ended up supporting this, um, like do it.
I
It
love it.
is worth it, I think.
Thanks so much for inviting me to have this conversation with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really fun.
So fun. Thanks for listening today, guys. I hope you picked up some tips, tools, maybe some baby steps for creating more balance and boundaries in your life. And I just wanted to let you know, if you want to continue moving the needle forward in creating this for yourself, having a happier household, I want you to go to my website and check out mastermindparenting.com. We have 3 beginning programs, and if you need some accountability and more support, then please look for the one that would be a good fit for you. And as always, we're on all the social channels under Mastermind Parenting. On Instagram, it's mastermind_parenting. And periodically I do pop up on different Instagram lives, Facebook lives, where I give you teaching and coaching, and I love engaging with you live to help you help your strong-willed kids so that they can feel better, because when they feel better, they do better. And I love, love, love getting to know you guys. So thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Super, super appreciative.